Yeah, sir, could you like if you can record, please? Can you repeat what you just said? Like math is abstract and
Yes. Yeah. So the so I thought about one of the most important points that you would have taken in the math chapter, which is the difference between, which is basically where does abstract thinking fall into in terms of mathematical notions. Math is an abstract discipline, and it basically relies on physical notions, physical representations of that abstract thinking. But does it really, or is it the opposite? Does the physical notion of things, so the sensation part, do they rely on the abstract thinking? So that's the question.
Sir?
So basically, in other terms, when you see 1, 2, 3, okay, how is it that you know what 1, 2, 3 means? Is it because you already have this notion in your heads? You know already innately how to count, and you know the abstract notion, the meaning behind any abstract notion in math? Or is it that you rely on the actual physical thing? So you have 1, 2, 3 branches, 1, 2, 3 cats, 1, 2, 3 apples, and then you rely on that. With time, you start building the abstract notion. So that's the question. 50% of you will take that sensation precedes abstraction. Sensation comes before abstraction, and that's what leads to abstraction. And 50 other percent would say that no, abstract thinking actually comes before sensation. Clear?
Sir?
okay.
Yes.
Sir, أنا kind of عملتها بطريقة إنه الفلسفي it's the mother. يعني with no philosophy there is no math. But with no math there is philosophy. عرفت كيف؟ يعني أنا عملتها بطريقة إنه الماث هي اللي بتستعمل philosophy. لأن it's all about theories and philosophical strategies. عرفت؟ يعني أنت تتحل إكزرسيس فيك تتفلسف بكذا طريقة تتحله. اوكي واساسا the simplest formula which is 1 plus 1 equal to 2. okay the person who proved it by using his own philosophy.
Yeah.
لأن هيك philosophy is included in math.
This is a good point. However,
بس sir أنا I wrote عكسه لجرار. أنا I wrote إنه I said imagine if philosophy didn't exist, then we would have nothing to help explaining math. And now imagine if math didn't exist, then we would have nothing to explain life with. So I actually made them coordinate together, like they're coordinating together. And like math. So wait, I wrote, where is it? Oh yes, sir. I wrote math is used to explain the existence of life in symbols. Philosophy changes these symbols into words.
Yes, that's السؤال which is before يعني math isn't
they
before
work
philosophy.
together. It's like
Yeah, they were
in
the first century BC.
بس في لك شيء إنه it's like saying who came before the chicken or the egg. ما اثنيناتهم they were يعني math and philosophy they work together. أنا بالنسبة لي like we cannot لأنه اثنيناتهم they work on proving theories. واثنيناتهم they work on logic. يعني إذا أنت you don't have logic you can neither work on philosophy and nor on math.
فينا علق على شيء also sorry.
Yes,
but can we give a chance just for a second for Sharbel?
Yes أكيد. ميشيل sir مش شربل.
But Sharbel before said something. Okay, Michel.
Yes, sir. It's the same here. I said that philosophy and maths are used to tackle the truth behind existence, behind the world. And I did my research and I saw that both are used to prove something, to prove
our
something.
existence.
Yeah.
And especially in Saint Augustine believed that the ratios, the first ratios of the four numbers were used in creation, were mainly used in creation. And 1/1, 1/2, 2/3, and 3/4 he believed that they were used in played a main part in creation of the beauties of the world.
Yep, that works. That works. I like how you expanded on this point. I'm looking forward to read your papers. So it seems. So yeah, go ahead, Ralph. Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, sir. Sir, أنا look how I drew it. I drew it as a chart. Okay. نكتب أول شيء sir philosophy. من تحتها math. Okay. لأنه أنت بفلسفي مش ضروري يكون عندك math تمشي philosophy. بس بmath ضروري يكون philosophy لأن it's all philosophy.
This point, careful. This point is what I was gonna mention earlier, and I think they picked it up. إنه بلا ضروري يكون في math يكون في philosophy. أول example هو logic. ما في without math ما في logic.
بس sir
without logic ما في philosophy.
Okay, بس sir in philosophy, okay, في عندك philosophy of life, philosophy of math, philosophy of sciences, okay.
philosophy as a branch
philosophy
of math.
dogs. فهمت قصدي؟ يعني في عندك a very 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 wide choice of philosophies. يعني مش ضروري تكون math بحد ذاتها. فهمت قصدي؟ بس تنقول مثلا in math انت شو في شيء ما بيمشي بلا math؟ physics, biology, chemistry. يعني math is the king of these three فيك تقول شو بتسميهم؟ طب ايه
sciences.
Okay. بس philosophy it's the king of them all. يعني هي بتجي فوقهم كلهم. لأن to study something, okay, you need theories. And what are theories?
ايه بس فوقهم او حدهم مثل ما كانت ألسا عم تقول.
انا بالنسبه لي فوقهم لانه فيلوسفي انا يعني ألسا قالت انه هي بالنسبه لها فيلوسفي وماث سوا. جو انا بفكر فيها بطريقه انه لا فيلوسفي ايش قبل. لان انت ما فيك تعرف دغري بلش الواحد يحكي نمبرز وجيومتري.
one second. كيف بدها تجي الفلسفي قبل اذا تنقدر نكون جمله تنحكي فيها بالانجلش or Arabic or whatever language تقدر نحكي جمله بدنا نعرف logical sequencing. يعني I am a person. I comes before am. Am is a verb and it indicates something, and then a is the letter we use. I forgot the actual term in English. Before. So this is logic.
You can. أنت ما فيك تحسب يعني إذا بتنقول you don't know language, okay? Philosophy can be described in symbols, your own symbols. يعني
بس ما those symbols are mathematical as well.
ما هيدا هو اللي كنا بنقوله.
Sir, actually I think that they both complement each other. There is no superior or inferior because
yes, they both work together.
Because math is another way to prove a theory. I watched like 6 years ago, I still remember it, a person who was trying to prove the existence of God using mathematics, which is a highly debatable subject in philosophy also.
Yeah, I like how you put it. It's like math and philosophy are two different languages for the same thing.
Yes, sir. They are both two different ways. يعني the way they tackle a subject are different, but both lead to knowledge and enlightenment.
Yep. So as Michelle is saying, Ralph, yes, I see your point, and I'm also looking forward to read your text, and I'm sure you provided a valuable point. But just to say that philosophy precedes math, بيفقع universe. لأنه you can't have a universe without math, and logic, يعني maximum you can have them together. But to have philosophy before means language is not structured. Thoughts are not structured, which is not the case, because to have philosophy you need structure, and structure comes from mathematical principles.
Sir, they're both independent.
يمكن فيك
تقول بدي اغير الاسئله طبعا.
لا,
can exist without philosophy.
they are يمكن فيك تقول رالف إنه we are predisposed to pick up the structure of math through language. فيك تقول هيك ساعتها بتحط ال predisposition على هيدي the ability to pick up these things. بركة بس أكثر من هيك I don't think يعني I have to check your paper thoroughly, but I don't think I mean anyone who the paper wasn't exactly about which came first. I'm not sure if the others also made this chicken and the egg thing. I hope not. But
Sir, Anna, I wrote how are they related and what are the differences and similarities between them.
Okay.
Sir, they both came out in the 6th century BC in ancient Greek.
Which one?
Sir, but can I say
but careful, Sharbet. To have something noted is different than it's coming out. Math has always existed.
Yes, it's humans started to take notice of it more.
Exactly. Elsa?
Sir, most philosophers are also mathematicians, like Descartes, Plato, St. Augustine, like all of these are philosophers and mathematicians. So kind of this proves our point that they work together, like math and philosophy, they work on the same path. Like it's true they might have some differences, but they have a lot of similarities because both a philosopher and a mathematician are hungry for knowledge. Like they don't stop discovering more mathematical and philosophical theories.
Yep. And new mathematical notions induce new philosophical questions.
Correct.
إذا مشيت السترينج ثيوري يعطيكم العافية. A whole bunch of new questions will be asked in philosophy. If we know more,
sir, what's that theory?
It's basically I'm not sure if if I have the right to explain it because I barely know anything about it, but it's basically the next step. Sorry?
Isn't it something in physics?
Yes, but the basics of it is in math. You need mathematicians first, and then the physics part is to show math what to do, and then the math will then go back to physics and say, okay, what about that? And then they go. So in quantum, so you have natural physics, you have quantum physics. The string theory is beneath the quantum physics, and it's trying to maybe answer a few very weird questions, very weird phenomena that we see in quantum physics. So it's going to be a two-bird and one stone thing once, if it got close to being theoretically proven. They've been working on it for about 2.5 decades. So look it up online if you want. It's really like a whole new world. If it's there, it might mean you have way more dimensions than we thought, and really, it's a whole new array of possibilities. So it's basically that subatomic particles act like a string instead of acting like a particle or a wave. يعني recently اكتشفنا انه it's about particle and waves, and then some of them disappear and appear. It seems some subatomic particles act like a string in space, and that's I don't know how to continue further than that. We need to base it off of a text or something or a video. So if you want, check it out, and then we'll discuss it. Send me a link, and we'll have a chat. So yeah. Yes, Raj?
عندي random question شرفه.
Okay.
Personal ايه بس بدك تجاوبني كرمالي.
We'll see.
Sir, راح اقول لك شغله دغري اول
بس do you mind if
فكر براسك.
Yeah, do you mind if I just make sure no one has any more questions about math?
Yeah,
so any other comments about the assignment? Okay, so after Ralph's question, oh yes, go ahead, Chad.
Yes, sir. I want to say it was a hard topic, because something new to us, but I could have قدرت شلت كم
Good.
link. But
Yes.
overall, it was hard.
It was maybe because I explained 0 things about that. That's one. So it was completely up to you. And 2, I left it open. So some of you talked about math and philosophy in a certain way, and others talked about maybe the particular people I mentioned to guide you, and some others even talked about something different. So that was the difficulty / beauty of it. So yes, looking forward. So after
Sure,
that,
أنا أكثر شيء حبيته هو my title.
Your
أكثر شيء
title.
حبيته my essay.
A good title is very important. It's very important, and it really shows the face of the essay. So,
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. Can I leave 1 minute? I need to call my mother. She needs to pay something for the
of
school.
course,
Sorry,
course.
sir.
Guys
Not at all.
بس يعني جي اس بس ركزوا معي شوي. هو مستر سماح سوري عم بقطش بس مستر سماح
No, it's
امبارح
fine.
قال انه بس انتوا تنزلوا نهار الثلاثاء على المدرسه على الساعه 2 لصف المات كرمال صف المات كي هو رح ينزل لياخذ المصاري منكم. هيك امبارح تتذكروا هيك امبارح قال على شو اسمه على بالميتنج الكيمستري. سو انتوا
40,000
ايه 41,000. اوكي سو رالف انت ما رح تنزل مرتين على المدرسه رح تنزل مره بس بهيدي المره رح تكون عم تدفع ال 41,000 لمستر سماحه. اوكي
ليه حبيبي؟
تنازل
انا
هلا
اخر
وحيد
مره سؤال
الله.
مستر سماحه كنا بالمدرسه.
نعم
اخر مره ركزت على شو حكي استاذ سماحه كنا بالمدرسه. ميرسي.
شربل انه اذا حدا من اهلك فيه ينزل يدفع هلا انه it doesn't matter انه بس المهم تدفعوا. نديروا يعني منه قادر يعني حدا من الجي اس منه قادر بينزل نهار الثلاثاء وقتها بده ياخذ صف المواد وبيدفع لمستر سماحه. اوكي
ان شاء الله ما ينسوا.
هلا مدام ماري هي رح تدفعهم انه من ال 41,000 تبع كل واحد منهم ودام بعدين شو اسمه ترجعوا انتم بتردوا لها المصاري. اوكي copy
طيب
okay so you can I'm really sorry for interrupting but
No, not
Mr.
at all.
George was talking to me right now and they really need the money كرمال استشجاع المنطق بدهم ايانا ندفع 41,000 لنشترك للتقديم. شو هان مش سرقه من الدوله سر ولا
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
very funny sir ونحن 60,000 تلميذ عم بيعمل تقديم. تتخيل قد ايه اذا عم ياخذوا 41,000 من كل تلميذ يعني they would make a fortune out of us وبالاخر يلغوا التقديم.
Yep. Okay. All right. So after Ralph finishes with his question, and if it leads to a certain topic to discuss or not, I suggest you start. I don't want you to, waste a lot of time on the assignment at home. I know you have other things to prepare for, but I still want that assignment because it'll show me really the oral part of, you've written something, you had, a preparation and everything across these 2 years, but I still want to hear you out, and I didn't get the chance to properly hear you out during this year because of the online teaching. So this 1 minute will be a very condensed, don't put anything that's not important because you just have 1 minute to convince me with, or the other group, the other 50% of the class, to convince us that sensation precedes abstract thinking or abstract thinking precedes sensation. So, and it'll be the final thing you present. So you can start preparing today in class. You have your own research, ask me questions, see if this is suitable, and probably next week, not probably, for sure, next week we will do, you will do it. And next Friday, I think if it's off, we will have to assign a date or come anyway on Friday, just for the 1 minute thing, and then we leave. Raf,
شو ال 1 minute thing?
the assignment, the elevator pitch.
Sir, عندي I have a deck of cards.
Okay.
I just flipped the first paper. What's the first image you see?
A queen of hearts.
Queen of Hearts. ايه سير انت مثلا ليه يعني وقت واحد بيعمل هيك اوكي يعني سير انا صار الفيجر شي as long as I remember يعني 7 of diamonds وما بعرف ليه عرفت؟
Hey, it could be, as usual, a million things. يعني مثلا, it could be what made me say Queen of Hearts is movies, for example. You hear them mention her more. Especially that you asked me the question in English. You didn't use the signifiers that we have. I mean, you might have asked in Arabic, but I mean, my mind is registering it in English. So لو استعملت الكلمة اللبنانية, the signifiers that we have in Lebanon. So كانت قلت معي ورق لعب.
اوكي
ورق لعب وفتحت أول ورقة شو طلعت. So إذا نحن ما كنا in this setting, my mind would have worked maybe differently. I would have chosen a different paper. So the papers that cross your mind or anything like this of this sort, بده يكون في تأثير بالenvironment, تأثير people you know, things you've done, if you are a card player or not, if you ever won مثلا a poker game because of a certain card or not. So those experiences, plus the signifiers you use, the words you use and their meaning and what they mean to us. It's not random that I picked a Queen of Hearts. It's not random that your image was 7 spade. What do you say? Diamonds? Yeah.
يعني sir, these magic tricks that يعني بيجي تنقول مثلا بيقول لك انت what card do you want to choose اخبار وهو بيكون كاتبها قبل ما يجي على المسرح ما بعرف شو هول شو يعني هو بيكون دارس حياته للي بده يسأله اما مثلا سأله السؤال بكود معين تيجاوب هيك.
It could be both, depending on what type of people is in the audience, but usually those things on TV are not real. But magicians, they try to work on the psychology of the person, on their attention, and on suggestibility. There's a scene in the movie, what's it called? Focus, if you know it. If you don't wanna, if you don't want me to ruin it, just lower the volume for a minute. Yeah, there's a scene where they make a move on someone to bet on choosing a player from the field, I think it was American football, and they bet that one of the people there will choose the exact same player. So what they did is that they primed him. Of course, it's a movie, it's an exaggeration, but the principle is there. They primed him to choose the number 55, and also they primed him with the face of the player holding the number 55, having the number 55 on his shirt. So he ended up choosing the number 55, thinking it was a hunch, thinking it was his intuition, but actually it wasn't. It was the priming effect. Because what they did was that they showed him number 55 throughout the whole day, and they showed him the face of the player that will be showing the number maybe a couple of times, once in a car next to him, so he didn't notice, and another in an advertisement. So this is what priming is. So that's also something that magicians rely on, but rarely. So it's a mixture of things: psychology, attention, priming, some tricks, a little bit of cheating, maybe, things like that. Did I answer you?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, good. All right. So go ahead. You can begin. Isn't it a good idea that you start now? Do you prefer that? No, yes, doesn't matter.
Start شو sir?
The preparation for the elevator pitch.
اوكي سؤال ألسا بتقول لك شو قصدك فيه؟ ألسا إنه راحت الكهرباء.
Okay.
راح الواي فاي مش الكهرباء الواي فاي.
Okay, so here are the questions in the chat, and let me go back to the list.
Like, sir,
Yes.
why do someone choose يعني اوكي راح اقول لك شيء بسرعه سور. انا you know that I completed a diving course last year. I completed 2 courses يعني طلع لي انا شهادتين. اوكي جيت عم بعمل هلا سير ريفرش صار بده ياني اشتغل معه. طب ليه مي out of all the divers that he taught which are professionals وبينزلوا وبيعملوا عرفت يعني ليه ركز علي which انا بعدني بعرف شيء بسيط من هوليك اللي بيعرفوه.
شو قال رالف؟
But I think you're asking the question differently. I mean, it should be asked differently.
سير بس شو قال رالف؟ ما سمعت سؤاله.
He asked why, among all the people he could have asked, his coach asked him to start training with him in scuba diving. It has to do with what you want and what the coach wants. If you got in a good relationship with him, if you understand, if you both meet in a certain place, and this works for everybody else, yeah, you might be the one out of many, because it has to do with what the person wants on both conscious and unconscious levels.
مش غلط يا سير مش غلط. بعمل فورتشن من وراها سير.
Yeah, I hope it works.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the GS will take the first one, sensation precedes abstraction, and the LS will take the other one, abstraction precedes sensation. You can begin. I'm going to stop the recording because I think as of this point there's no point of recording. You're just going to ask me some questions if you have any and work alone. And at the end I'm going to check I'm going to check the progress. Okay.